Greetings YouTube and welcome back to another vlog. So anyway, how are we doing? I hope everyone's doing well. So anyway, what shall we talk about today? Well, I've got a few subjects written down as per usual. And hopefully it's a bit more organised. I thought the last video was much better than the other vlog that I did because I thought that was a bit over the place and a bit rushed. And one thing I noticed was when watching the other vlog back, the last one I did, I said dear Lord a hell of a lot. I know you may not have noticed, but I did noticing when rewatching it. It was like a drinking game. It's sort of like a drinking game where you hear people say on TV, and I think if you hear those on TV, if you want to do a drinking game to that, be warned that you may end up in the hospital with some kidney problems, so be warned. So now we shall crack on with the vlog, and oh boy, we've got a few things to talk about. So this might end up being a long vlog. Hopefully not too long, but the last one I did was like 51 minutes. But anyway, let's crack on. So the first thing I want to talk about is, you know me by now. You know I like to talk about the football. So yeah, let's get on with it. And if you enjoy your rants, well, get ready because I'm going to give you one. And if you don't like rants, I was about to say if you don't like vlogs, don't watch it. No, that's something else. But anyway, if you don't like rants, then yes, skip to another chapter. But if you like a good rant, or you want me to hear and you want me to get stuff off my chest, then yeah, it's good. So anyway, we'll talk about Liverpool once again. Why on earth are Liverpool being absolutely shite this season? Absolutely shite. Why? I don't know, because we have some of the same players from like last season. So anyway, yeah, as you know, I mentioned that we lost 5-2 to Real Madrid at Anfield. An absolutely disgraceful performance because, as I say, when it comes like the big moments, when it comes like the big games, they're the ones that you should be the most excited for, the ones that you should be hyped about. The games that get you really pumped up. Yeah, Liverpool were anything pumped up. They were anything but. If anything, they were deflated. It was like as if someone had grabbed the pin and like stabbed the ball to death and then stabbed the players with it, because my goodness, they were absolutely deflated and useless. So after that shower of shit, you'd expect that Liverpool would bounce back. Yeah, so we played. So on Saturday we played Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, and I find Selhurst Park to be an interesting ground because there's a Sainsbury's built onto it. If you don't believe me, you can have a look. In fact, I might even show you a little picture as to what Selhurst Park looks like. But enough about that. But yeah, I predicted that this would be a difficult game, but I was hoping that Liverpool would actually show a bit more urgency and a bit more of a positive, show a bit more positive attitude. And you're thinking, okay, yeah, let's put the misery of Real Madrid behind us and let's go on to get points. But clearly, you've not been watching Liverpool this season, because getting 3 points is a rare thing. And yeah, once again, Liverpool didn't win as we drew 0-0 in an absolutely gutless performance against Crystal Palace. I mean, fair play to Crystal Palace. I thought they were the much better team and probably should have won the game in my mind, because again, Liverpool just didn't turn up. Yeah, it's the same week in, week out. And I just think it's just going to be like this for the rest of the season. It's just going to be it's a messy situation, but I think it's going to get more messier before the season does end, which I cannot wait for it to end. And yeah, I don't even know how we are currently 7th in the league. I know we were in 10th at one point, but it was because of other teams like Chelsea. I mean, I will talk about them in a few minutes, but how on earth are we 7th in the table? We're playing like a team who were 17th, let alone 7th. It's just an absolute embarrassing. And I know, and again, my opinion on Jurgen Klopp is still the same. Unless a miracle happens, which, let's be honest with you, it's not happening. Unless you want to snort some really strong glue, then if you want to do that, be my guest. Though I personally wouldn't advise doing such things. But yeah, again, he keeps picking the same players who have been consistently poor every time, and I don't even know what the hell has happened. I mean, nearly lost my voice then. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully I'll sorted it out. But yeah, he keeps picking players like Jordan Henderson, who, let's be honest with you, he is finished, at least for Liverpool. He's been a great player, but it's obviously he cannot play at this level anymore. It's a shame. But you gotta be honest with yourself, he is just not good enough for Liverpool anymore. I could say the same for a lot of them. Mohamed Salah just seems so uninterested. It's like as if he doesn't want to be at Liverpool. Yeah, and one problem that I have with Salah is when it comes to creating chances, he's sometimes too greedy and refuses to pass the ball to his teammates, which absolutely does my head in. And he is, how much money is Mo Salah on? £350,000, £400,000 a week for being absolutely gutless. And yeah, I don't like saying that. I'm a fan of Mo, but he has been absolutely dreadful this season. Absolutely piss poor. And don't even get me started on Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know a few people suggested that perhaps Klopp should move him into the midfield role as opposed to playing as right back. But I don't think that will make any difference at all, because let's be honest with you, our midfield is it's past it. It's a shame. Thiago's a good player, but he's always injured. And as I say, we had options to sign like midfielders in the January transfer window. Yeah, we signed Gakpo, but he isn't a midfielder, so what the hell are we supposed to do with a team that's falling apart? And what the sad thing was, James Milner was probably the player who showed up on Saturday against Crystal Palace. He was the only player who showed up, and he's 37 years old. If a 37-year-old is our best player, I don't want to know who our worst player is, except that I do know, and I gotta be honest with you, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold. I do like the lad, but he needs to sort his head out right now. If he has any hope of being a Liverpool great, because the thing is, there's a good player in there, but I don't know, he's just too selfish sometimes. The same could be applied to a lot of the other players as well, but yeah, a lot of stuff needs to improve. Other than James Milner, I think the only player who does try his best is Alisson. Yeah, but you cannot rely on him all the time, because it's going to get to a point where if he gets injured, then Liverpool's season is just going to go from bad to worse. And you know what? We don't even deserve European football. If we end up getting the Europa League, I just think that's down to luck and due to other teams like dropping points. We have like Brighton and Fulham who are above us. Actually, no, Brighton. Who is it? I think Fulham are above us. We're above Brighton and Brentford now, but even then, those teams who are below us, like Brighton and Brentford, they're on the same amount of points that we have. It's just that we have a slightly better goal difference than them, but even then, it's still absolutely appalling. I mean, it's fantastic to see teams like Brentford, Brighton, and Fulham be where we are. It's absolutely fantastic for them, but for a club like Liverpool, we should hang our heads in shame and then write this season off. But you know what? It's one of those things. Yeah, we go on. But yeah, so now we will talk about Chelsea. Yeah, I said I was going to mention about Chelsea. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Chelsea at all for obvious reasons. In fact, I've never liked Chelsea even for God knows how many years. And I know some people are going to say, "Oh, you don't like them because they got bought out by Roman Abramovich and all that." I'm like, nah, I didn't even like Chelsea before then. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I've never liked them. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some players that I did like at Chelsea, such as Didier Drogba, Lampard, Joe Cole, Zola. There's some really good players for Chelsea then, but I don't know. I just never been the biggest. I've never really liked Chelsea all that much. I mean, obviously they're not my least favourite team. That would be Manchester United, followed by Everton. But you know what? But yeah, as I said, there were some players that did like at Chelsea, but as a club, no, because even when I started getting into football in like the very late 90s and early 2000s, Chelsea were one of those teams that I always found to be absolutely problematic. One of the worst performances that I can remember was losing 4-0 to them in 2001. We should have lost 8-0 in that one. But anyway, let's cut to the chase. The reason why I'm mentioning Chelsea is because of their manager Graham Potter, who, let's be honest with you, it's not his fault that he joined Chelsea, but just like David Moyes and Manchester United, it's a task that perhaps it's just a job that's a bit too big for him, if I'm being honest with you. And you know what? I do like Potter. He's a very good manager. What he did for Brighton was absolutely phenomenal. But as I say, when you go to join a club like Chelsea, I mean, it's clear that the task ahead and the task in hand is much bigger than the one that you'd have at Brighton. So, yeah. But yeah, since he's been appointed Chelsea manager, yeah, things started off quite well in the Champions League, but unfortunately, the form in the Premier League hasn't been great, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to go and blame Graham. I'm not going to put the entire blame on Graham because he is doing the best of what he can. It's just that, let's be honest with you, it's a job that's just too big for him. What doesn't help with a club like Chelsea is that, yeah, there are a lot of big egos in the dressing room. I mean, same goes with Liverpool and some of the other big football teams in England, but yeah, a lot of those players need to take responsibility, and some of them have won the trophies for other teams and have done it elsewhere. Yeah. And another issue that they have is the new owner, whatever his name is, Bowley, whatever his name is, the American fella. But yeah, the problem that Chelsea having is that they're signing players like as if they're playing the game of Pokemon. They just want to buy them all. And then what is Graham supposed to do when you have players that have come in the door quicker than Sonic the Hedgehog in Green Hill Zone, Act 1. But yeah, they just come in thick and fast. But but it's a really tough task, and yeah, it's clear that it's just a job that's too big for him. And as much as I like the fella, I don't think he should have left Brighton. But even Brighton, but then saying that Brighton are doing just as well, if not slightly better without him. But you know what? Yeah, he just can't. He just can't do it. And that the game against Spurs yesterday was a prime example of that. I mean, Spurs haven't had the best of seasons. Let's be honest with you, but yeah, they beat Chelsea 2-0 in quite a dirty game as well. But yeah, both Chelsea and Tottenham players were squaring up to each other, as you'd expect. But yeah, there's. I mean, as a manager, you should accept criticism, and fair play to Graham for taking it on the chin. He knows his responsibility. He knows what's right and what's wrong, and he's the one who's trying his best to figure it out. And I mean, it's clear that it's not going to make much difference, but I do feel sorry for him. And I especially feel more sorry for him when he was the subject of, let's just say, some very nasty comments from some of the fans. I mean, getting criticism from the fans is one thing, and that's it. You're supposed to, I mean, as a fan as a fan of any football team, you have the right to criticize your team. But when you bring someone's family and children into it, that is crossing the border. And some person threatened to like murder his wife and his kids. I'm like, what the hell? Listen, you can be unhappy about the way Chelsea's performing, but that does not give you or anyone else the right to go and threaten someone's family based on the form of the football team. What does that solve? Absolutely fuck all. It doesn't resolve anything. It's just making you look like an absolute pillock. Oh yeah, I just want to send like a threat. I just want to threaten him and see if that'll work. No, the only thing that's doing is causing more problems for yourself. Yeah, again, you can criticize the manager and the team, but there are better ways of doing it than death threats. That is just the lowest of the low. And yeah, stuff like that. I mean, stuff like that is just unacceptable. You're just crossing the line. Again, you could be unhappy, but there are better ways of doing it. And the sad thing is, some of these comments are coming from people who are like in their 30s and their 40s, acting like children. I mean, for goodness sake, some people forget where Chelsea were in the 1980s and the early 1990s when they were struggling. I mean, in 1988, Chelsea were relegated from the top flight and came back in 89. Yeah, people forget that Chelsea was struggling then. But it happens with every football team. They go through a transitional period. It's happening right now with Liverpool. We've done everything. We've won the FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League, and stuff like that. But as I say, some seasons are much better than others, and yeah, it hasn't been a good one for Liverpool at all, and not for Chelsea either. But yeah, I mean, yeah, even though they're doing poor, I can't help but feel sorry for Graham. You can't, even though the job in hand is too much for him, in my opinion. Yeah, he deserves better than that. He deserves better than that, especially if he is getting abusive and threatening emails and comments from a supporter. It's just pathetic. There's better ways to go about it. So anyway, also yesterday, Manchester United beat Newcastle 2-0 in the League Cup final. Yeah, it's the EFL Cup final, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I know it's now called the Carabao Cup final. But yeah, they've changed the League Cup final name so many times. We've had like Littlewoods, the Coca-Cola Cup. Yeah, the Worthington Cup. What the hell is that about? Just call it a League Cup. Don't confuse it. Because the FA Cup is just the FA Cup. So yeah, United beat Newcastle 2-0 in the final. And you know what? Despite what the scoreline suggests, Newcastle caused Manchester United a few problems. They really did. Yeah, the first goal was scored by Casemiro, which at first people and the officials were not sure whether it was offside or not. Yeah, they allowed the goal because it was just onside. Yeah, and then after he scored, Marcus Rashford, who has been on fire this season, yeah, makes it 2-0. And that was that really. And in the second half, Newcastle, all they had to do was defend. Yeah, United very nearly made it 3-0, but it didn't matter. They got the win, and you know what? They deserve to win. I mean, it's a shame about Newcastle because they showed determination, but yeah. So that was United's first trophy in 6 years. Yeah, and the first trophy for Erik ten Hag, who I think will go on to do more for Man United. That team is full of confidence, and I mean, it pains me to say this as a Liverpool fan, but you've got to admire what he has done to Manchester United. You've got to admire his work ethics and everything, because the Manchester United team that people have seen for the last couple of years is a massive contrast to what it is now. And you know what? It's looking like things are going to get better, and you never know. Even though I don't think they'll win the league this year, they'll either go to Arsenal or City. I reckon they could be up there next season, but I'd say only time will tell. I mean, fair play to Eddie Howe for Newcastle. I know it. I mean, you could tell it. I mean, you could tell that. Yeah, you could tell that Newcastle weren't quite ready to compete in the final like that, but it just shows you the progress that they have made. I mean, I don't think anyone this season would have predicted Newcastle to be where they are in the league and get this far into the final. And in fact, this is Newcastle United's first final since 1999, when funnily enough, they lost to Manchester United 2-0 in the FA Cup final that season. And yeah, same scoreline, but you know, the progress they made is great. And whoever plays Newcastle next will have a really hard time. Yet defensively, they're one of the best teams going. Yeah, I know it was a bit of a blow when they had Nick Pope sent off in the Liverpool match, but you know what? To give Newcastle credit, they did play well, but obviously before any of them had a sniff at the ball, it was clear that United were going to win that game because obviously they a club like them, they want to win. They want to win trophies, and that's it. And that's all I can say about that. And then we're on to some sad news though, because I'm sure some of you, well, most of you know this, even if you're not a football fan. I mean, this fella left such a massive effect on the world of football and in commentary as well. So yeah, a few days ago, the legendary commentator John Motson sadly passed away at the age of 77. Yeah, rest in peace, Motty. Yeah, that guy, in my opinion, probably the greatest football commentator of all time, other than Brian Moore, of course. But yeah. What was fascinating about Marty was that he never showed any bias. He never showed any bias to any certain teams. He was a neutral, and he enjoyed a good game of football. Yeah, it's incredible to see how many games of football that he commentated on. It's just absolutely incredible. But yeah, the guy gave us so many great moments, like the famous 1972 FA Cup shock when Hereford United beat Newcastle 2-1. Yeah, that goal in that game, yeah, was just insane. But yeah, I'm not sure what my favourite moment of Motson was, but yeah, I feel what one of the greatest pieces of commentary was in the 1981 FA Cup final replay for Tottenham versus Man City, where Ricky Villa scored the winning goal. And let's be honest with you, it's probably the greatest FA Cup goal of all time. I think it is anyway. I don't like Spurs, but that was a phenomenal goal. And listening to Motson's commentary when he scored that goal, it gives you like goosebumps on the back of your neck. Yeah, yeah. He also did it when Wimbledon beat Liverpool in the '88 final. Yeah, so many great moments from him. In fact, it's hard to pin. I mean, other than the Tottenham final in 1981 against City, it's hard to pinpoint what his best commentary moment was. There's a plethora to choose from. There is just a shitload to choose from. But yeah, he was just absolutely fantastic. I don't know. To me, he was the Murray Walker of football. He really was. Yeah, and I don't think we'll get another commentator like him again. I mean, I was gonna. I mean, Martin Tyler used to show enthusiasm, but you know what? The guy just sounds like he's had enough. And the only time he gets excited is if Manchester United score. Doesn't matter if it's a tap in or anything. It sounds like whenever Manchester United are scoring, he sounds like he's fucking wank. He sounds like he's wanking off. Like like when Aguero scored against QPR to win the league in 2012 for City. Yeah. It sounded like I don't sound like that day he couldn't stop fucking coming. But yeah, that's not an image you want to see. But anyway, rest in peace, Marty. You will be missed. And yeah, so anyway, after talking about the football, what other subjects have I got written down? Yeah. So yeah, well there's two topics I want to talk about, but I feel that these two topics will coincide with one another. So anyway, I know in my last vlog I mentioned I watched Luke Hose's like top 10 like favorite PC game music where he featured Chris Pam for UK. Yeah, they picked some fantastic stuff. And you know what? It had me thinking, what are some of my favorite PC game soundtracks? I mean, I would like to do a top 10 one, but for that one, I don't think I will upload onto YouTube because because of copyright claims. I mean, yeah, with the C64 stuff and the Amiga stuff, it wasn't too bad, especially with the ZX Spectrum. But I don't know, PC game music might. I don't know. I might get into a bit of trouble for that. Won't. So instead, I would just talk about some of my favourite soundtracks based off from some of the PC games. I will say I'm not the biggest PC game fan. Not to say that I dislike PC gaming or anything like that, because I've played a fair share of games on the PC back in like the 2000s and probably very late 90s. But you know what? I mean, there's some games I never played on PC, though I did play versions of those games on like console, though some of them were originally on the PC. So so some of my favorite soundtracks, though I think the majority of them would be composed by Alexander Brandon. I mean, if the name doesn't ring a bell to you, I will mention some of the games. So, and then you'll probably be like, "Oh, he did the music for such and such. I didn't know that." But no, he did like the music for like Unreal, the Unreal, the game from 1998. Then of course there was Unreal Tournament from 1999. Though of course there was the Unreal Tournament from 2004. But I mean, to be fair, I've never played any of the Unreal Tournament games, though I do remember seeing them. I think I remember trying to. Yeah, I think we tried like downloading Unreal Tournament on the computer, but many years ago. I think it was about like people tried downloading on the computer when I was like 7 or 8 years old. Because we had like random like PC games, though some of them were let's just be honest with you, let's just say dodgy copies because I mean at that time, I mean, who on earth would go out and buy a game brand new? Because let's be honest with you, people liked burning stuff onto CDs and having their consoles and what have you chipped. And that was the way to go back then, though. I mean, yeah, it's something that, yeah, I'd say I know it, even though it's frowned upon nowadays, sometimes, I mean, some people, such as myself, look back on it fondly, though, where I don't know if I'd do that again, but yeah, don't know if I'd go through all that messing around again. Like obviously we got a neighbour to do that for us many years ago. So yeah, we tried playing games like that, but obviously for whatever reason my PC wasn't like capable enough because like obviously your parents weren't gonna like buy you like a graphics card or anything like that. I didn't know about stuff like that at the time because again, I was still in my single digits, so some of that stuff and all that lot, I didn't understand because my mindset at that time was like, if I put a game into a computer, you'd expect it to like start straight away. I mean, yeah, some games did start, but they didn't run particularly well, or they just weren't compatible for whatever the reason. Maybe whether the computer is out of date or you needed something else to get it running better. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the soundtrack on both Unreal 98 and Unreal Tournament 1999, fantastic. Though there was one game I did have on the PC. It wasn't a legit copy, but yeah, we had it. There was one game that we did have and it had his music on, and that was a Jazz Jackrabbit 2. Not the first one, because when I was a kid, I was like, where on earth is Jazz Jackrabbit 1? Because I mean, I know that one came out in '94, but yeah, but I played the Jazz Jackrabbit 2. I mean, I didn't play much of the game because I wasn't very good at it, but I remember the music on it was just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, worth listening to. So yeah, So some of my favorite game soundtracks, like I mentioned Unreal 98, Unreal Tournament 1999, Jazz Jackrabbit 2, Deus Ex. Yeah, he did the music for Deus Ex. Yeah, and but it was a game I I mean, I did have Deus Ex, though. We tried getting that game to work on my PC many, many years ago, but it didn't work. It didn't work, but yeah. So so then I bought the console version over the PS2, which I mean it does the job and it's a very good version. But if you're gonna play Deus Ex, play it on PC. It's as simple as that. But what I like about I do like the game Half-Life as well, though. I mean, Half-Life 2 is very good as well, but I did prefer the first one, and I still prefer the first one personally. But what I like about the PS2 version of Half-Life is that you can hook a mouse and the keyboard to it. I mean, obviously, the game is still going to be better on PC, but the fact that you can plug your mouse and keyboard into the PS2 version is insane. I think yeah, they put a lot of time and dedication into that. They really did. So, yeah, great soundtrack in there. Great soundtrack in both Deus Ex and Half-Life. So, that's my 5. So I need to think of 5 other game soundtracks that were good on PC. I mean, I was going to say, your Hitman Codename 47, though. I don't know. I never really got into the Hitman games myself, but I will say though, Hitman 3 does look really good though. I'll give that game a go at some point, but yeah, the original, the first Hitman game, the soundtrack on that was just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, done by the legendary Danish composer Jesper Kyd. Yeah, Jesper. Yeah, even though it's spelled with a J. But yeah, the guy did some absolutely stellar soundtracks on certain games. I know he started off on like the Amiga and even on the Sega Mega Drive, but yeah, the soundtrack he did for that was Alexander Brandon who did the music for Deus Ex. Jesper did the music for Hitman Codename 47, and I'm pretty sure he did the music for the other Hitman games as well. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but yeah. But I know he did the music for the Assassin's Creed games, which, I mean, the Assassin's Creed games were a bit hit and miss for me. I wasn't too keen on the first one, if I'm being honest with you. I got that game with my Xbox 360. I didn't like the first Assassin's Creed. Yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 was one of the best games I've ever played, so I don't know how that can happen. I still think, brilliant game, fantastic, and I still think it's the best one in the series. I mean, then you had like the other Assassin's Creed games, because I bought quite a few of them. Like there was Brotherhood, Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4. But then over time, I don't know. I just become a bit sick of the series, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. It's a game series that, I mean, apart from the first game, it's a series that started off, it was a series that was good, and then it just got a bit tiresome, and like, you know what, it was like as if you can only do so much before you get sick to death of it. Yeah. But that's all I can really say about Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I'll include the soundtrack because it was on PC, though I played it on the 360 originally. Other PC soundtracks I like, Doom, of course. You gotta have Doom, though, the original from 1993. I mean, yeah, the music on Doom 2 is pretty good as well, though I feel as if it's more memorable on the original. Yeah. I mean, the first person genre is a bit hit and miss for me. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it, but yeah, Doom is one of those games that I think is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I had it on the PlayStation 1, which I thought was a fantastic version for a console. even though I didn't like how dark the screen was, so you had to like turn the brightness up on your TV so you can see what you're doing. A bit like Tomb Raider 3 if you've played that, yeah, because that game is quite dark. Even the last Revelation. But, yeah. So, I mean, I need 3 more game soundtracks for the PC, and then I think I will move on to, like, another topic about video games. So, anyway. Sorry, let me think, then I'll have to try and focus on the subject. But yeah, so there are 3 other soundtracks I do like on the PC. Which one? Trying to think of another one. Command and Conquer, yeah, Command and Conquer Red Alert. I'll go for that. I especially love the the march theme, yeah, the one that you just hear when you start the game. Some of the best pieces of guitar music I've ever heard on a PC game. Absolutely fantastic. Though, again, I originally played that on the PlayStation 1 because, yeah. Because it just shows I was more of a console gamer, though I will admit certain game series like that were better on PC. Age of Empires 2, absolutely. Another game I played quite a lot when I was younger. And the weird thing was I never played the first Age of Empires. I started off with the second one, and then I worked my way up through the others. And yeah, while I do think the second game is the best one, the others weren't too bad at all. Though I still haven't played the original. And the last PC game, probably the one I played the most as a kid, and like abused it to death with cheats and its expansion packs as well. Yeah, The Sims. Yeah, and we're talking about the original Sims from 2000. Yeah, I know Sims 2 and Sims 3 are probably better games, but the original for me will always be my favourite. Yeah, I can still hum and remember all the tunes in my head from when I used to play it all the time as a kid. Yeah, I know it was a game that me and my brother like spent like several hours on the day playing. Yeah, because I know what we do is like yeah, we take turns like building houses and see who can try and have like the best looking houses. I know, and sometimes we used to put like I know we used to put silly things in like the bedroom, stuff that you wouldn't need, a rug of like a dead animal or something. Yeah. Yeah, and then we used to put something like, oh yeah, putting the toilet in the kitchen and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it's not good for hygiene, but yeah, we used to do some absolutely stupid things on The Sims. I don't, I don't know. It's good thinking about some of the silly stuff that you used to be able to do. So yeah, but I'll include the soundtrack to that. So that's my 10 favorite PC game soundtracks. I mean, there's probably few I could think of. So anyway, the other video game topic I was thinking of was movie tie-in games that I think are actually better than the films that are based on. I know I asked Dell this in his last blog that he did, and yeah, he had some really good answers. I'm trying to think ones that I think are better than like the games are based. Movie tie-in games are better than the movies that they're based on. I mean, there's a few examples I could use, like Spider-Man 2 on whether it be the PlayStation 2 or the GameCube. I don't mind. Yeah, even with Spider-Man 1, yeah, I thought I really enjoyed the games, but I try. I mean, most of the ones that I can think of are probably the more common ones, but I genuinely feel like that. It's like I think the game of Toy Story 2 is better than the actual movie, though I do think Toy Story 2 is a great movie. I still, as a movie, I do prefer the first. As a movie, I do prefer the first one, but yeah, Toy Story 2 is still a great Disney film. Well, Pixar. But anyway, but yeah, I played that game a lot when I was younger. Still play it quite a bit to this day. It's a platformer that has aged really, really well. Yeah, and I had a look. Yeah, even though the film came out in 1999, it was released here in the UK. I had a look at the date. I wrote it down. It was released on the 11th of February 2000. So yeah, so Toy Story 2 didn't come to the UK until 2000. And that's when the game came out over here. Though, of course, in America it was 1999. But I just played the game over and over again as a kid. The soundtrack on it is absolutely brilliant as well. Yeah, my favourite piece of music's from Andy's Neighbourhood, which is the second level. Though I can name other great soundtracks in that game. The music used in Al's Penthouse, phenomenal. One of my all-time favourite pieces of music as well. But I think the soundtrack on Toy Story 2 on the PS1 is phenomenal, absolutely. But I think the obvious one that I'm going to go for is GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. I mean, the Nintendo 64 was a console that I did like, though I could only play it for an hour before I ended up getting splitting headaches from it. But GoldenEye, yeah, what a game that was. And it was a game that showed you that consoles can do first-person shooters really well. It was a pivotal moment in gaming. I know Doom started it on the PCs in 1993, and then for the Nintendo 64, GoldenEye in 97. I mean, yeah, the film came out in 95, and Tina Turner did the theme tune to it. But yeah, as a game, GoldenEye was just absolutely superb. Has it aged? Yeah, it has aged, but you could use that same argument for other Nintendo 64 games or other titles from that period, from that frame. But it's one of those. Yeah, but what I liked about GoldenEye it wasn't just the missions itself, but the multiplayer, phenomenal. It's like I know I like these. The multiplayer levels are like sort of like the arena shooters, which I was a massive fan of stuff like that as a kid. Yeah, I used to like the Time Splitters games, though. I only played the first two. I didn't play Future Perfect, though. I still haven't, and I need to rectify that because from what I've heard, many people consider Future Perfect to be the best game of the lot. So that's really that. I mean, what other movie tie-in games are there that I think are better than the movies? Oh, I mentioned GoldenEye. What other ones were there? I'm trying to think. I don't know. I mean, I was going to say RoboCop for the ZX Spectrum, though. But then again, I like the film RoboCop, so I can't. Alien 3 for the Sega Mega Drive. Yeah, that's better than the Alien 3 movie. I mean, I know it's not the best Alien film out there, but it's. I mean, at least it's not Alien Resurrection. That does not exist to me as far as I'm bothered. But yeah, Alien 3 though may not have been the greatest movie, but you got a decent game of it on the Mega Drive. And again, a fantastic soundtrack by Matt Furniss. But then again, isn't all of his soundtracks really good? Well, except for Chase HQ on the Commodore 64. That game was just a hot mess. Yeah. But yeah, I could name a few others, but I think I will move on for that. And one thing I asked on his last blog anyway was like I asked him what his favorite character and what his like favorite episode of Frasier was and is. So, but before I delve into that, I know I did a bit of research on it. I mean, normally I don't really bother doing research when it comes to like doing the vlogs, but I thought, you know what? I thought I want to do a bit better. So yeah, I had a look. Oh, excuse me, I got a bit of trapped wind. I know I had a pot noodle for dinner, but as I say, let's be honest with you, it's getting its revenge on me. But anyway, let's cut to the chase. So now yeah, what I found about Frasier was, even though it aired in September of 1983 in the United States, here in the UK, the first episode of Frasier, which is the good son, yeah, the first ever episode of Frasier was aired here in the UK on the 20th of April 1994 on Channel 4. So yeah, Frasier, even though the sitcom turns 30 years old this year, it would be 29 years old over here in the UK. So yeah, and it aired at 10 o'clock of the night. So yeah, that was one information, and that was one of the things I found out about it. I mean, it's interesting to know that a lot of these American sitcoms that aired in like in autumn over there, or as they call it, fall, and yet they don't come here in UK until usually at the end of winter or during the spring period. So yeah, 20th April 1994, and apparently it was on a Wednesday. So yeah, that was some interesting info I found. But yeah, I know he mentioned about the characters Frasier, Niles, and the father Marty. He said that they work perfectly as a trio, which, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's in some ways it's sort of like Only Fools and Horses with Del Boy, of course, yeah, Rodney and Grandad, and then Uncle Albert. So yeah, it worked that way. But my favorite character has been and always will be Niles Crane. I mean, even when I was a kid, I always found him to be an interesting character. Yeah, yeah. The chemistry that he has with Daphne, though, it is some of the best chemistry that I've ever seen in any program. Yeah, in a will they, won't they relationship. Will they get together? Won't they get together? But yeah, they're really good. But yeah, even Roz. Yeah, everyone likes Roz Doyle. But yeah, yeah, you're really good. But yeah, but no, when I watched Frasier as a kid, I know I used to absolutely fancy Daphne. I think a lot of people did. If it wasn't Daphne, it was definitely Roz. But yeah, I fancied her as a kid. But then again, everyone was like that with certain programs. Like everyone fancied Jennifer Aniston, who of course played the role of Rachel Green in Friends. But we're not talking about Friends because I'm talking about Frasier. So yeah. So I was thinking about what my favorite episodes was. I mean, he mentioned his favorite episode was Moondance, the one that Kelsey Grammer himself directed, where Niles and Daphne end up going to the dance. Yeah, one of the most one of the great moments ever. But my favorite episode is this is an episode I come back to, and it's from the fourth series. It is the ham radio episode where the radio station celebrates its 50th anniversary, and to celebrate that occasion, Frasier decides that, you know what, we're gonna do like a murder mystery, we're gonna do like a murder mystery story, and they get people to do like the acting. So of course they go to his apartment and like write down the script for it, and yeah, there's some yeah, but yeah, but what goes wrong does go wrong, and my goodness, it is probably one of the most hilarious things I think I've ever seen. Like yeah, when it comes to actually doing the murder mystery, yeah, it goes completely tits up, and yeah, the the character that Roz is doing though, in the murder mystery, I mean, when she comes to doing it, she struggles because she had not long been the dentist and the anaesthetic hadn't settled, so Yeah, so she was talking a jumbled mess. And then the Bulldog and his girlfriend has a line on it. And she gets one of the words wrong due to dyslexia, but yeah, but what made it was like Gil. Oh my god, yeah, Gil. I mean, he wasn't in every episode of the show, but whenever he did make an appearance, I don't know, I found him quite funny. But yeah, they kept getting the script wrong and everything. And the best thing was, yeah, because it was going from bad to worse. Yeah, Niles was doing like one of the characters, and he was like, you know what? He was like, fuck it, it's gone wrong. Let's go and kill everyone off. Yeah, and yeah, they were using like balloons as like the gun to make like the gunshot sounds and stuff like that. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, some other good episodes as well, like yeah, Niles like ironing his pants, yeah. Yeah, and I know he ends up setting Frasier's apartment on fire. Absolutely superb. Yeah, some of the best slapstick that you'll probably see. And it's all done within like a space of 5 minutes, but it goes by so quickly. But it's done perfectly. And then another episode I do like is The Innkeepers, which was from season 2. In fact, that episode was on this morning on Channel 4. But yeah, it was where Frasier and Niles buy a restaurant, and yeah, there's quite a bit of slapstick in that one. My favourite part is where Niles is trying to like chop up the eel, but the eel just won't die. I mean, Daphne's like, she's like, oh, for heaven's sake! So she just grabs the eel, and then I know she grabs it and then absolutely smacks it on the side of like the unit in the kitchen, and then something goes bang, and then Roz's hair is an absolute mess, and then the sprinklers go off. I, yeah, I know some of it's a bit silly, but I don't know. Some of it is it's a lot better. It's much funnier than the way I'm describing it. So if you haven't seen those episodes, though, I'm sure most of you probably have, because it's one of the most successful American sitcoms of all time. Yeah, and at one point, Channel 4 rated Frasier as the greatest sitcom to be shown on that channel. Though other times we've done it, and Father Ted won, which, yeah, I'm a massive fan of Father Ted. So, yeah, sorry to mention. Yeah, fantastic. And it's a shame that sitcoms of today just don't have the wow factor like what they do nowadays. A lot of sitcoms now are just absolutely boring. And they have to have humour. They have to have humour in a way that it doesn't offend anyone. Well, well, it's not exactly humorous though, is it? I mean, yeah, you can be funny without being offensive, but it's the way that they do it nowadays. Yeah, I can mention how good the British sitcoms were. I mean, there's a few of the American ones I did like. Obviously, Frasier and Cheers. I mean, I used to like The Nanny, though the main character, Fran, her voice goes absolutely through me. It cuts through me like, I don't, it's like someone scratching the blackboard. Yeah, or as the woke ones to call it, the chalkboard. Yeah, we'll not go into that. That's something else. But yeah, that's my talk about Frasier. And last but not least, I mean, I'm not exactly a car person or anything like that, but I mean, when it comes to certain cars, there's some that I just the look of them just makes me go, wow, it's absolutely stunning. Like the Ferrari Testarossa, the white one in Miami Vice. I mean, yeah, the car it was probably one of Ferrari's worst built cars, but it didn't matter. It was still a nice looking car. Kind of like the Rover SD1 though. The Vanden Pla one, absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, it was another car that was badly built. Yeah, people talk about like the supercars, like the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, stuff like that. I mean, I do like them, especially like the Diablo and the Countach. Though I think, though knowing YouTube, he'll probably think that I'm swearing, but no, it's the name of the car. It's the Countach. But I bet you'll probably censor it in the subtitles. Yeah, I mean the subtitles and the closed captions on YouTube are some of the most hilarious things going. But yeah, but I do like them. But I don't know. I prefer some of the cars of like some of the other cars that were not like supercars. Some cars that are like hatchbacks or I don't know, or at least cars that I find appealing from yesteryear. Because a lot of cars nowadays to me just look drab and unoriginal, and a lot of them use the same chassis as one another. But yeah, I thought about what are some of my favorite cars? What is like my top five favorite cars of all time? And like I say, some of them are probably not the most. Let's be honest with you, probably not. Some of them may not be the greatest cars ever built, but on terms of on curb appeal, you're thinking, wow, it's just absolutely stunning. So yeah, I wrote some of my five favorites. So I mean, this is in no particular order. So yeah, the first car that I wrote down is the Ford Capri, but it isn't just the Capri. I think you know which one it is. It's the 2.8i. Yes, the 2.8 liter injection that they did. Yeah, I know there's the Mark III one, but yeah, an absolutely stunning car. I mean, it may not have been the fastest thing on planet Earth. Yeah, the car is quite slow, but it was the noise and the grunt that this thing made was just incredible. I mean, there were other Capris as well, like the 3 liter V6 that were like the Mark IIs. Even some of the other ones with like the smaller engines, like the 1.6 and the 2 liter ones, yeah, they weren't bad, but yeah, the Capri, I thought the best one was the 2.8 injection. Absolutely stunning. And then continuing with Ford, I mean, yeah, and the Ford Escort. I mean, come on, everyone likes an Escort. I don't, I'm not that kind. For goodness sake, I'm talking about the Ford Escort. So anyway, I mean, there are other there's plenty of Escorts that are out there that I do like. There's of course like the RS 2000, whether it be the Mark One or the Mark Two. Um, the Mexico, even the Escort Cosworth and the RS Turbo, but I do like them. But in terms of appeal, the one that I like the look of the most has to be the XR3i. I mean, I do like the Fiesta XR2 as well. That's one nice car, but the Escort XR3i was just something else. Absolutely stunning. But yeah, it had to be the Mark III one because the Mark IV one, although it looks the same as the Mark III, the only difference with the Mark IV is that the front was slightly more rounded, and I don't know, I just didn't think it looked as nice. But where was the Mark III? Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and like, I mean, what color looks the best for the XR3i? I mean, that depends on the person. But I think for me, it probably, I don't know. I mean, there's three colours I think it looks nice, and there's like the dark grey that it comes in, red, and in black as well. But I think if I had to choose a colour out of those, I'm going to go for red. Saying that red's my favourite colour, so it might have something to do with that. Yeah, with the Capri 2.8 litre injection, yeah, it has to be in blue. I mean, there's some other nice colours like the black as well, but I think the blue suits it better for that. And then next, I mean, this is another Ford, but I mean, but this is one where it divides opinion. But as I say, but the question is, Which do you prefer? The Ford Escort Cosworth or the Ford Sierra Cosworth? I think a lot of people will say the Escort, but I'm going to say the Sierra. I know some people are like, what? The Escort Cosworth's better and is better. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Escort Cosworth's one beautiful car, but the Sierra Cosworth doesn't matter if it's the RS 500 one or the Sapphire Cosworth. It doesn't matter. Both are just absolutely beautiful looking cars. I mean, Ford in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s were known for making some good cars. And yeah, to a degree in the 90s, but yeah, in the 80s particular, they made some absolute stunners. Not only did they look nice, but some of them could shift. I mean, obviously cars nowadays are faster, but yeah, the Sierra Cosworth, whether it be the RS 500 or the Sapphire one, it doesn't matter. I love them both the same. So yeah. Though the first car that I can remember my dad having, I mean, it wasn't his first car, but the first car I can remember him having was a silver Ford Sierra Sapphire, and I think it was a 1.6 litre engine. I think it was a 1.6. If not, it'd be a 1.8. Don't think it'd be anything more than that. But yeah, enough about Fords. The two other cars that I included, I have the other one. I mean, when it comes to this brand of cars, this particular car maker, manufacturer, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But for me, this was their best car. In my mind, anyway, their best looking one. And it was a phenomenal car, particularly in the rallies in the 80s. And that is the Peugeot 205 GTI. Yeah, what a car that is. But it isn't. It's not just a Peugeot 205 GTI. Oh no, it's not. It's not them. I mean, it is, but it's not. But it's not. It's not the 1.6. It's the 1.9. Yeah, I know people say it doesn't really matter, but I'm sorry. 1.9. Why? Has to be the 1.9. I mean, I'm sorry, a car like that. A hot hatchback like that needs an engine like it, and yeah. I mean, I don't know an awful lot about cars, but as I say, if I like the look of one, then that's it. I will talk about it. And last but not least, yeah, a BMW. Now, I know some of you said, but you've moaned about BMW drivers and all that lot on previous vlogs. But I'm not talking about drivers or anything like that. I'm just talking about the cars, what I think of them. Yeah, but yeah, the old BMWs, especially from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and a little bit of the 2000s. Some of them are quite nice. I mean, I like the old 7 Series, whether it be the 735i, yeah, the 735, and then we've got like the old 5 Series, like the 528, and yeah, the 635, yeah, the absolutely stunning cars, yeah. But I think BMWs nowadays, I don't think they've lost that appeal that they once had, because most people nowadays own one in Britain. But yeah, as I say, not everyone had a BMW back in the day. But anyway, what is my favourite BMW? What is my favourite looking BMW of all time? I'm going to go for the BMW M3. But which one? Because there's plenty of versions. There's plenty of different variations throughout the years. But if I had to pick an M3 based on the way it looks, it's tough. But I'm going to go for the E36. Yeah, the ones from like the mid-90s. Yeah. There's something about that car I just think is absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. And yeah, I mean, there's like the normal, like the coupe ones or the convertible ones. I mean, I don't know which one I prefer. I'd probably say the convertible ones, but yeah, I just think it's an absolutely stunning car. Yeah, the three series at that point though was one beautiful car, absolutely fantastic, absolutely incredible. But that's it. I mean, there are other BMWs that do like, as I mentioned, the old 5 Series and the 7 Series. Like, yeah, and one of them I do like is the 750 IL though from like the mid 90s. Yeah, cars of that time. I don't know. They have more personality about them than a lot of the cars of today. I don't know. I just don't feel as if cars these days have that same sex appeal like they used to. But as I say, your mileage may vary. So anyway, I think I've talked enough for one day. My voice is going. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I shall see you next time. Take care.